Hey, there's the one boom, and are publishers really that evil? Do publishers really ruin games like Call of Duty or Destiny? What really goes on behind the scenes and the things that we don't see about our favorite video game franchises? I'm going to be talking about that today, and I hope you stick around and enjoy the video. Alright, so first things first, I'm not going to be defending any companies in this video. I'm not going to defend any particular people. I honestly don't know why anybody would do that, and I'm definitely not going to be the kind of person that does that. So, first things first. So what does a publisher actually do? Functions usually performed by the publisher include deciding on and paying for any licenses used by the game, paying for localization, layout, printing, and possibly the writing of the user manual, and the creation of graphic design elements such as box design. Large publishers may also attempt to boost efficiency across all internal and external development teams by providing services such as sound design and code packages for commonly needed functionality. So let me paint you a picture. Let's say that Treyarch is about to make Black Ops 4. Probably not going to happen, but let's just say. They're sitting there and they have all the ideas written out. They have a lot of the game finished, but it needs that extra coat of polish. So like I just said, a publishing team will provide services such as sound design code packages. For instance, most Activision games have the same explosion effects, similar sounds. It's all very, very similar. One of the first places I ever noticed this is that in Ultimate Spider-Man, I could hear a really weird police siren. It wasn't a normal police siren, it was very fictional. It was a fictional police siren sound that you can then again hear in Advanced Warfare over 10 years later on the Riot map. The police sirens in the distance on that map are the same ones used in Ultimate Spider-Man. Why? Probably because Activision has been sitting on that soundbite for years and they eventually whip it out, or occasionally whip it out, and you hear it in a couple of their games. Ever wondered why entering a Goliath in Advanced Warfare sounds like a Transformer? It's probably because it is. Activision also made all the Transformers games. Sorry, published the other Transformers games. And so that sound design is probably either made by another third-party developer down the line or whatever, or it was just theirs to begin with. So that's why explosions, animations, and sounds can be very similar between different games that are being published by the same people, is because they provide that kind of service. And like I said, paying for localization, layout, printing, and possibly the writing of the user manual, graphic designs, box design, and the making sure that there's discs in the box and there's games on your hard drive that you can download. That's the role of a publisher. I could also say it's also the role of, Microsoft or Steam or Sony to make sure the game is able to go on your console and making sure that it's up for download or up for purchase. There's a lot of things that go on with the creation and purchasing of a video game. So I'm not going to get into all of that. We're just going to talk about video game publishing and developing here. I talked way too fast there and I apologize. Anyway, it is true that with third-party developers like Treyarch or Infinity Ward, the publisher's wishes generally override those of those developers. And again, this is all from Wikipedia pages, videos, things I've watched, things I've researched. I even got a book, because this is how long ago I got into this. I got a book from a library about the creation of video games. Yeah. But see, when you read something like the publisher's wishes generally override those of the developers, you think, wow, Activision really owns Call of Duty. Well, you have to ask yourself, what are the wishes? Usually those wishes include things like marketing, advertising. That's actually a big one that publishers do, is advertising. And so, yeah, developers don't have a lot of say there. But when it comes to the content within a game, that is where the developers get to shine. Everything in a video game, such as, let's go with RNG stuff, because that's a hot topic right now. Let's go with the RNG stuff. The battle packs from Battlefield 4, the rec packs from Halo 5, the supply drops in Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3, that is all developer side. None of us from the outside can say that with 100% certainty without knowing if Activision or DICE or 343, Microsoft stuck their face into those games and said, make sure the game has random loot and random number generating loot. But from the actual roles of game developers for years and years and years, and this is even stuff I looked up specific like Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and their specific roles in the creation of Call of Duty, and all of that has their name on it. The common consensus is that publishers make sure that they're getting as much money out of you as possible and making sure that you guys are all miserable, you're not having any fun, and that everything in the game annoys you. There are tons of alarmist YouTubers that would like to make sure everybody feels like the world is out to destroy their favorite video game franchise, but that's simply not the case. Publishers work very hard to make sure people buy the game and make sure people see the game's advertisements, make sure people can put the game in their console and play it, making sure people can enjoy the game. Publishers go through a lot of work for that, and developers go through all the work of making sure you can walk on that map, you can fire that weapon, you can beat that level, you can go through that part of the campaign. All of that stuff is very, 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 very important, and they all work together. The important thing to remember, guys, is all of these people sit around the same table. They all discuss this, all right? It's not Activision saying, add supply drops, add really, 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 really low chance of getting the MX Garand or the NX Shadowclaw. Make sure it's really hard to get those new weapons. Make sure it's really expensive to buy COD points. Make sure it's super, super terrible. Make sure it's just the most uncomfortable thing for the player and they get mad. And it's not the developer going, I don't know what I'm doing, just trying to add stuff to my video game. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's people working together to see what works, see what bites. Treyarch makes money too. Developers are not wonderful, creative people that are in touch with people and gamers and life and love and interesting things. And the big corporate publishers come in and go, make the game make more money. You know, it's not like that. Here's a little dirty secret. The developers receive money too. They get paid as well. That's very important to remember. Any money that is made by that game, any money that is made can go to funding their next project, their next game, and making sure they still have a job. So the idea that Treyarch is just desperately working to balance the VMP submachine gun and Activision wants more micro DLC, more RNG-based loot. It doesn't work that way. It's a community effort. So no, this isn't a video about how developers are wonderful and publishers are evil, or publishers are wonderful and developers are evil. It's a video about business and how people are trying, and right now, as I'm talking, are sitting around tables, talking to other people, having discussions, having ideas on how to make more money and how to make the game work and to make sure people buy it next year and to make sure people enjoy it for years to come. So can we destroy this common consensus that publishers ruin games? For instance, Destiny, the publisher had nothing to do with the developers talking about all the things they want to do with their new IP and giving out footage of things that were never in the final game. Talking about things that ended up never being in the final game. That's not the publisher's fault. They weren't like, wow, what a great huge game you have here that people will love to purchase and give us money for. Scrap that shit, cut it into little pieces, we're gonna sell it as DLC and make the whole brand be labeled as shit. And now no one likes DLC and no one likes Destiny. Everyone thinks that whole system is a piece of shit. So yeah, I'm sure all those evil people are really happy with the fact that they got you to buy DLC, but probably never going to buy another Destiny game again. And one more thing. It is even more absurd to assume that Drifter or any YouTuber is getting paid by Activision to support supply drops, especially when they don't support supply drops. Do they buy them? Yes, it's their money. But we have to be mature enough to separate the actions from the person. I can hate supply drops, but to see how long it would take to get a weapon and buying them myself, I don't really feel guilty for dropping $30 on supply. I wouldn't feel guilty, I haven't done this, but I wouldn't feel guilty for dropping $30 or $100 on supply drops into the millions of dollars that company's making just to see if I can get a weapon. I wouldn't feel bad for doing that, and drifters shouldn't, and no one should try to make anyone in this community feel bad for what they spend their money on. We don't like supply drops. It will hurt Call of Duty if it continues, so just assume that Activision and Treyarch and Infinity Ward and Sledgehammer Games and Bungie, DICE, Respawn Entertainment, they learn from their mistakes. They test the waters, they see what will work, and if it doesn't work, and if it's not gonna work, if it's not making money, if it's pissing people off, it'll have to stop if they want to continue making long-term plans for money. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense. I hope it wasn't too complicated. I got a little lost in recording because it is a little bit of a complicated topic, but I hope you guys didn't get lost while listening. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. If you have any feedback, leave them down in the comment section below. And just to summarize, if you guys stayed till this point, remember this. I know that publishers have a lot of weight in things, and we never know exactly how much weight. But if you go by what developers are known for doing and what specific developing teams are known for doing, it's really easy to deduce what is made by the developer and what is made by the publisher. It's not right to be mad at either of them or side with either of them. You need to be on the side of the game you're playing. If there's something wrong with the game, it's the game's fault. And when you think of it that way, it's the publisher, it's the developer, it's the people funding it, it's the people starting rumors about it, it's the people making it worse through the different communities and subgenres of the game. Hope you guys learned something from this video, and I'll see you when I see you.